name is Grafmyre. Just turned 75 years old, March 2. So I was born in 1940. And in 1969, I put on a show called the Seattle Pop Festival. And it was a music show that was really based off of Monterey Pop Festival, which was done in California, that I was associated with through a friend, Bill Graham, who had booked the talent for the show. And the Mamas and the Papas, their manager Lou Adler and John Phillips did the original Monterey Pop Festival. So my festival, the Seattle Pop Festival, took place in Woodinville, which is this really wonderful area that I've just come back to for the first time, truly, since 1969. So let's just say I'm going to ballpark it that it was 45 years ago. And out in the front of the building, where I'm standing, is a miniature golf course, and there's people that are hitting golf balls, and my audience was out where they're hitting the golf balls. I'm going to be coming back to make a short film here because I have some folks that want me to do something here again on a whole nother level as far as what they call the new level, the social media, where it's become a television event, a one-day television event, where I invite people to come and be part of what I'm doing, which is going to be for charity. But the cool thing is when I was here, I was because I'm going to look at some of the artists that I presented here in 1969, and it's really fun because one of the band was the Doors, and it was the Doors was really something else. The band, the Doors, was something else. So I was fortunate. I was able to rent a helicopter at the small Boeing field and fly Jim Morrison and the band to this site. And the helicopter landed out over to the right here where there's one man who's hitting a golf ball right now. It was a little further. We had a place where the helicopter could come down. And then Jimmy was able to come out. It took a month for us to set up the big stage. Now it's just a little thing where people hit golf balls. But the stage was as high as that. And then, so then Chuck Berry. And what was really fun about Chuck Berry was he arrived in a big white Cadillac with a blonde, and we tucked him over on the corner over here, and he sat around there in the afternoon and probably whacked himself off for all I know. But I could care less. And I didn't have to supply him with any drugs or anything. I had plenty of people to supply with drugs. And not the kind of drugs that you might think, just simple drugs. And so another wonderful artist that I really felt good about that I'm looking at here, and it just amazes me that I was able to have this woman be on stage and be here where I'm standing today, and I just can't quite believe it that I have what do you call kind of a way of doing things where it's like you want to do right, you want to present certain kind of situation where it feels good from my point of view, from a artistic point of view. Like I would consider myself somewhat I was studied acting, and I learned about how to be an actor. I went to the Pasadena Playhouse down in California, Pasadena, California. And so what was really fun as far as the acting part was I was able to act out some things by presenting some musical artists that, to me, I mean, I'm looking at Sly and the Family Stone here, and I'm looking at Carlos Santana, and I'm looking at some things like Led Zeppelin, like Jimmy Page and Robert Plant are really still with me. I still cherish them. They're both alive. And this goes back, this event took place in 1969, in the like August. I'm standing here on September 21st, I think today, and my event took place in 1969 in August. That's when they have the Seafair week in Seattle. And then what's fun about Led Zeppelin was that they just really put on one wonderful show. Jimmy Page is probably the most remarkable guitar player, of all time for Boyd, and then Robert Plant, obviously a very dedicated singer. But I want to go back to Jim Morris and the Doors because I was just thinking about how he fell off the stage. I built a rather humongous stage. It wasn't some little tiny stage. We had to build it from scratch. It took about a month, like I said, to build all this up. And Jimmy fell off the stage because probably the helicopter ride and stuff, he probably got a little high smoking a doobie, and he liked to drink tequila, so he probably drank a half a bottle of tequila for all I know. But he managed to fall off the stage and into where all the photographers were. And then we'd had some, because oftentimes in Seattle there's known as rain, where the rain can happen at different times. And so there had been some rain before, so he fell in the mud, and he got himself up out of his predicament. And obviously his manager, Bill Siddons, was there, and I said, Bill, I've got a couple security people. If you could go with him and help retrieve him and somewhere to bring him back, and then I'll bring him back on stage. He doesn't need to clean up or do anything. So he came on stage, and then he fell down on the stage and then managed to still sing one of his songs. And he said, there's a little red truck going by, and there's a little this, and there's a little that, and there's a little bit of a fire. So obviously, he was pretty stoned. So the cool thing is, though, there's nothing wrong with that. Then I've got Ike and Tina Turner. That was the woman I was trying to remember earlier. So Ike, came up to me. He had a little .45 revolver, and I had a little office set up over in the corner over here, and kind of over that tilted building as I'd set up kind of a makeshift office. And he had a little .45. He said, "Hey, boy, do you need my money up front?" And I said, "No problem." I said, "We got the money already, and I know you like cash, so we got you cash." So he had his guy with him who also had a revolver wearing it. They thought I thought, well, this is, like obviously how it's done in the real world. And so he was protecting Tina, who I believe was his wife. Well, it had to be his wife at that point. And then finally they split up. She probably got sick of him. She lives in the Mediterranean now in a wonderful house on the water. And there's lots of people that played this festival that are really they're really remarkable people, and their careers have moved along. Some of them have died, obviously, like Jim Morrison, but the cool thing is that Carlos Santana's alive now. So I'm going to do a small music event here where I'm standing today, and it'll take me. I'm going to probably do it during 2016, and I'll do it in the spring, not in the summer. I'm going to do it kind of early spring because I've got something in mind for a charity that I want to do to help all the fires and all the stuff that happened in the state of Washington in Wenatchee and east of the mountains and all that stuff, to help all the fire victims. Thank you. Appreciate it.